My wife has been secretly cheating on me with a married man who just had a newborn son, and I only found out after months of suspicious behavior? Hey Reddit. I 34M have been married to my wife, Emma 32F, for 6 years. We met in college during our senior year, and I fell for her hard. She was vibrant, funny, and passionate about life. I thought we were one of those couples who defy the odds. For most of our marriage, I believed that we were solid. Sure, we had arguments, but who doesn't? At least, that's what I thought. About 6 months ago, I started noticing subtle changes in Emma's behavior. She'd always been transparent with her phone, often leaving it on the kitchen counter or nightstand, but suddenly, it was glued to her hand. If I came into the room, she'd quickly swipe her screen or put the phone face down. At first, I chalked it up to work stress. She works in marketing, and her firm had just landed a big client, so late nights and extra effort weren't out of the ordinary. Then came the excuses. I'm meeting the girls for dinner, she'd say, but when I'd casually ask which restaurant, she'd be vague. Just a new place downtown, you wouldn't know it. Sometimes she'd get dressed up more than usual, wearing perfume she hadn't touched in years. I felt a twinge of doubt, but I buried it. After all, I didn't want to be the paranoid husband. But the little things started piling up. One evening, she came home late, and I noticed a faint mark on her neck. It could have been anything, a rash, a bug bite, but when I asked, she fumbled over her words before saying it was probably from her scarf. The next day, she went out of her way to hide her neck. My gut was screaming that something wasn't right. What truly set me on edge was an overheard conversation. Emma was in the living room while I was upstairs, and I heard her laughing softly. It wasn't the laugh I was used to, it was tender, flirtatious. She was saying things like, "I can't wait to see you again, and you always know how to make me smile." When I came downstairs and casually asked who she was talking to, she claimed it was Sarah, her closest friend. Sarah is a good friend of mine, too, so the next time I saw her, I brought it up. Sarah looked confused. "No, I haven't talked to Emma on the phone in weeks," she said. That was the moment I realized I couldn't ignore my suspicions anymore. I started paying closer attention. I noticed charges on our credit card for restaurants we'd never been to, as well as a charge for a hotel in a nearby town. When I asked Emma about it, she casually said it was for a client dinner her team had arranged. But the dates didn't align with her supposed late-night work meetings. I felt like I was going crazy. I needed answers, so I did something I'm not proud of. I installed a tracker app on her phone. I didn't take this decision lightly, but I felt like it was the only way to get the truth. That's when I discovered the messages. The texts were between Emma and a man named Mark. At first, I thought maybe they were just friends, but the messages quickly removed all doubt. They weren't just flirting, they were planning meetups, recounting previous encounters, and discussing their feelings. Mark was married, too, and had just welcomed a baby boy with his wife, Laura. Reading those messages felt like a dagger to the heart. Emma wasn't just betraying me, she was enabling a man who was betraying his entire family. I confronted her that evening. I remember sitting at the dining table, the screenshots printed out in front of me. When she walked in, I asked her to sit down. "What's this about?" she asked nervously. "Who is Mark?" I said, sliding the papers toward her. Her face turned white. She tried to deny it at first, claiming he was just a coworker, but the evidence was irrefutable. When I pressed her, she broke down sobbing. She admitted to the affair. She said it had been going on for 4 months and that it started as an emotional connection but quickly escalated into something physical. She begged me not to tell Mark's wife, saying it would ruin his life. That enraged me. What about our life? What about the fact that she had already ruined our marriage? I told her I needed space to think and moved into the guest room. Update. The days following the confrontation were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and could barely function at work. Emma kept trying to apologize, but every time I saw her, I was reminded of those texts. She tried to explain herself, saying she felt neglected because I'd been working longer hours lately, but that excuse felt hollow. I struggled with the decision of whether to tell Mark's wife, Laura. On one hand, I felt she deserved to know the truth. On the other hand, I didn't want to escalate the situation unnecessarily. Eventually, I decided to reach out. I found Laura on social media and sent her a private message. I kept it respectful but included enough detail to prove I wasn't making it up. I attached screenshots of the texts and offered to answer any questions she had. Laura didn't respond right away, but when she did, her reply broke my heart. She said she'd had her suspicions but never thought Mark would actually cheat on her, especially not with a newborn at home. She thanked me for telling her and said she needed time to process everything. Another update. Emma and I were in a state of limbo. We still lived in the same house, but our interactions were limited to logistics. I started therapy to help process my emotions, and it's been a lifesaver. My therapist helped me see that the affair wasn't my fault, no matter how much Emma tried to blame our strained marriage. Meanwhile, Laura confronted Mark. She told me later that he denied it at first, even trying to accuse her of being paranoid. But when she showed him the screenshots, he couldn't argue. She told him she wanted a divorce, and he's been begging her to reconsider ever since. She's staying strong for her son, but it's been a tough road. Emma, on the other hand, has been trying to reconcile. She started going to therapy and said she's willing to do whatever it takes to fix our marriage. But how can you rebuild something when the foundation has been shattered? Every time she says, "I love you," I wonder how genuine it is. Final update. 3 months have passed, and I've made my decision. Emma and I sat down for a long, honest conversation. She admitted that the affair wasn't about me, it was about her insecurities and her need for external validation. While I appreciated her honesty, it didn't change the fact that she had betrayed me in the worst possible way. I told her I couldn't stay married to someone I couldn't trust. She cried, begged, and pleaded, but I stood my ground. We've started the divorce process, and I've moved into a small apartment nearby. Laura and I have stayed in touch, though strictly as friends. She's focused on her son and rebuilding her life, and I'm trying to do the same. It's strange how betrayal can bring strangers together, but I'm grateful to have someone who truly understands what I'm going through. Final thoughts. Looking back, I never thought I'd be in this situation. Emma's betrayal broke me, but it also taught me the importance of self-respect and boundaries. I've learned that it's okay to walk away from a relationship that no longer serves you, no matter how much history you have together. To anyone reading this who suspects their partner of cheating, trust your instincts. You're not crazy, and you don't deserve to be gaslit into doubting yourself. Seek the truth, and don't settle for less than you deserve. For now, I'm focusing on healing and rediscovering who I am outside of this marriage. It's a long road ahead, but I'm determined to come out stronger on the other side.